going to read a tract that I wrote entitled Noah Built an Ark. And this is going to be part of the series of videos I made about the refuge. Noah was commanded by God to build an ark to save himself and his family from a great flood that would be sent by God to destroy the inhabitants of the earth. Noah built the ark as a refuge from God's impending wrath. God later said he would never again destroy the earth with a flood, but the next time he will use the elements and fire. And there shall be signs in the sun, and in the moon, and in the stars, and upon the earth distress of nations with perplexity, the sea and the waves roaring, men's hearts failing them for fear, and for looking after those things which are coming on the earth. For the powers of heaven shall be shaken. Luke 21:25 and 26. Knowing this first, that there shall come in the last days scoffers, walking after their own lusts, and saying, Where is the promise of his coming? For since the fathers fell asleep, all things continue as they were from the beginning of the creation. For this they willingly are ignorant of, that by the word of God the heavens were of old, and the earth standing out of the water and in the water, whereby the world that then was, being overflowed with water, perished. But the heavens and the earth, which are now, by the same word are kept in store, reserved unto fire, against the day of judgment and perdition of ungodly men. But the day of the Lord will come as a thief in the night, in the which the heavens shall pass away with a great noise, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. The earth also and the works that are therein shall be burned up. Seeing then that all these things shall be dissolved, what manner of persons ought ye to be in all holy conversation and godliness, looking for and hastening unto the coming of the day of God, wherein the heavens being on fire shall be dissolved, and the elements shall melt with fervent heat. 2 Peter chapter 3, verses 3 through 12. Before the end takes place, there will be great carnage on the earth against the people of God. For in those days shall be affliction, such as was not from the beginning of the creation which God created unto this time, neither shall be. And except that the Lord had shortened those days, no flesh should be saved. But for the elect's sake, whom he hath chosen, he hath shortened the days. And then if any man shall say unto you, Lo, here is Christ, or Lo, he is there, believe him not. For false Christs and false prophets shall rise, and shall show signs and wonders, to seduce, if it were possible, even the elect. But take ye heed, behold, I have foretold you all things. But in those days, after that tribulation, the sun shall be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light, and the stars of heaven shall fall, and the powers that are in heaven shall be shaken. And then shall they see the Son of Man coming in the clouds, with great power and glory. Mark chapter 13, verses 19 through 26. All of these calamities will not happen at once, but over a period of some months or years. Do you think you will escape this time of trouble? It is believed by most Christians today there will be a secret rapture of the church before the great tribulation comes, just before God pours out his wrath on the inhabitants of the earth for one last time. Not all Christians believe in a secret rapture. Some Christians believe their faith in Jesus will protect them when this time comes by some miraculous means. But others believe they will go through the great tribulation and may even die for their faith. I don't believe there is going to be a secret rapture of the church. And if you will only listen, I will tell you how to escape what is coming in the future. God chose Noah and revealed to him just what to do to protect his family. By faith, Noah, being warned of God of things not seen as yet, moved with fear, prepared an ark to the saving of his house, by the which he condemned the world and became heir of the righteousness which is by faith. Hebrews chapter 11, verse 7. For if God spared not the angels that sinned, but cast them down to hell, and delivered them into chains of darkness, to be reserved unto judgment, and spared not the old world, but saved Noah, the eighth person, a preacher of righteousness, bringing in the flood upon the world of the ungodly, 2 Peter 2, verses 4 and 5, God will not leave his people in the dark, but will give them direction as the time grows near. How can I say this with complete confidence? It is because God has revealed to me where his people should go to escape his impending wrath. If this is true, it is the greatest event of all time. Except for the death and resurrection of Jesus Christ and his return, you can save yourself and your family from what is coming on the earth if you will only listen. I will tell you where to go at the end of this writing. Here is the biblical account of Noah. You must see there is a need to prepare for the end time. But Noah found grace in the eyes of the Lord. These are the generations of Noah. Noah was a just man and perfect in his generation, and Noah walked with God, and Noah begat 3 sons, Shem, Ham, and Japheth. The earth also was corrupt before God, and the earth was filled with violence. And God looked upon the earth, and behold, it was corrupt, for all flesh has corrupted his way upon the earth. And God said unto Noah, the end of all flesh is come before me, for the earth is filled with violence through them. And behold, I will destroy them from the earth. Make thee an ark of gopher wood, rooms shalt thou make in the ark, and shalt pitch it within and without with pitch. And behold, I, even I, do bring a flood of waters upon the earth to destroy all flesh, wherein is the breath of life from under heaven. And everything that is in the earth shall die. But with thee shall I establish my covenant, and thou shalt come into the ark, thou and thy sons and thy wife, and thy sons' wives with thee. Thus did Noah, according to all that God commanded him, so did he. Genesis 6, verses 8 through 22. And the Lord said unto Noah, Come thou and all thy house into the ark, for thee have I seen righteous before me in this generation. And Noah was 600 years old when the flood of waters was upon the earth. And Noah went in, and his sons and his wife, and his sons' wives with him, into the ark, because of the waters of the flood. And it came to pass after 7 days that the waters of the flood were upon the earth. In the 600th year of Noah's life, in the 2nd month, the 17th day of the month, the same day were all the foundations of the great deep broken up, and the windows of heaven were open, and the rain was upon the earth 40 days and 40 nights. In the selfsame day entered Noah, and Shem, and Ham, and Japheth, the sons of Noah, and Noah's wife, and the 3 wives of his sons with them, into the ark. And the flood was 40 days upon the earth, and the waters increased and bare up the ark, and it was lift up above the earth. And all the flesh died that moved upon the earth, both of fowl and of cattle and of beasts, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, and every man, all in whose nostrils was the breath of life. Of all that was in the dry land died. And every living substance was destroyed, which was upon the face of the ground, both men and cattle, and creeping things, and the fowl of the heaven, and they were destroyed from the earth, and Noah only remained alive, and they that were with him in the ark. And the waters prevailed upon the earth 150 days. Genesis chapter 7, 1 through 24. And God remembered Noah and every living thing and all the cattle that was with him in the ark. And God made a wind to pass over the earth, and the waters assuaged. The foundations also of the deep and the windows of heaven were stopped, and the rain from heaven was restrained. And God spake unto Noah, saying, Go forth of the ark, thou and thy wives and thy sons' wives with thee. Bring forth with thee every living thing that is with thee, of all flesh, both of the fowl and of cattle, and of every creeping thing that creepeth upon the earth, that they may breed abundantly in the earth, and be fruitful and multiply upon the earth. And Noah went forth, and his sons, and his wife, and his sons' wives with him. And Noah builded an altar unto the Lord, and took of every clean beast, and of every clean fowl, and offered burnt offerings on the altar. And the Lord smelled a sweet savor, and the Lord said in his heart, I will not again curse the ground any more for man's sake. For the imagination of man's heart is evil from his youth. Neither will I again smite any more every living thing as I have done, while the earth remaineth seed time and harvest, and cold and heat, and summer and winter, and day and night shall not cease. Genesis 8, 1 through 22. And God blessed Noah and his sons, and said unto them, Be fruitful and multiply, and replenish the earth. And I will establish my covenant with you. Neither shall all flesh be cut off any more by the waters of a flood. Neither shall there be any more, neither shall any more be a flood to destroy the earth. And God said, This is the token of the covenant which I make between me and you and every living creature that is with you for perpetual generations. I do set my bow in the clouds, and it shall be for a token of a covenant between me and the earth. And it shall come to pass, when I bring a cloud over the earth, that the bow shall be seen in the cloud. And I will remember my covenant, which is between me and you and every living creature of all flesh. And the waters shall no more become a flood to destroy all flesh. And the bow shall be in the cloud, and I will look upon it, and that I may remember the everlasting covenant between God and every living creature of all flesh that is upon the earth. Genesis chapter 9, 1 through 16. And will God turn Satan and his Antichrist loose on the whole world and not show his people where they can go to protect themselves? I don't think so. God has prepared a refuge for us. Now we must enter into it to save ourselves from the wrath of Satan that is coming on the whole earth. Revelations chapter 3, verse 10, and Revelations 12, verses 12 through 17. And if you've been watching these videos, you can, or if you haven't, go back and watch The Refuge from the beginning. This is part 6, really, of The Refuge, which it's a factual account of the dreams that I had.